Marist team that did a really good job dictating the pace the first time around. Pace going to be a big factor in this one.
The number of offensive weapons really stands out. Team in Marist, not even to mention James Lyons, who has multi-point games in 9 of his last 10. And off the face-off, it's going to go with Mount St. Mary's. So Connor Beals didn't win it cleanly, but Mount St. Mary's gets the face-off anyway.
And Beals is just a real dangerous threat. That's for the goaltender there. Gowan, when he gets his hands free, can really let it rip.
Daniel O'Meara in net for Marist today. There were some question marks coming in of who was really going to get the start, but O'Meara does. He did struggle against Quinnipiac. Stopped just 6
ways, and a big-time response. But it starts on the other end. A good save by O'Meara late in the shot clock. And then they're patient on the offensive possession, not forcing anything on the interior, waiting for the opportunity to get a shot from point blank. And now an interesting showing right here.
Penalty was called on Mount St. Mary's number 1, Jared McMahon. It's a 1-minute penalty.
You can see the athleticism of Schmidt on display. Taking the man down face off and able to rip it away. And now the MAAC can pretty...
I mean, you talk about a dynamic offensive threat. Of course, he wins MAAC Offensive Player of the Year, but it's more than that. Get a look at these numbers. He has 3 points, or at least 3 points, in 12 consecutive games.
That's pretty impressive.
Not bad.
And then a mistake for Mount St. Mary's. Once again, they at that because they will make you pay.
Fires that one just a little bit up. Was stick with us to join the NEC conference, but now back to the MAAC as a full member. They were associate members in the past.
And what's really interesting right now, too, is that Marist has been able to control the pace without really winning too many face-offs.
Yeah, they haven't. In fact, they haven't won.
On the defensive end, and you got to ignite a spark somehow. And again, I'm not blaming Griffin McGinley because a lot of these have been point-blank opportunities for Marist, but something's got to change for the Mount, and it's got to happen fast because this one's getting away from them early.
It is. Andrew Preston would probably be that option. Across 3 different games, he stopped 7 out of 15. You wouldn't think you'd go to him in a MAAC semifinals game, but if that's what it takes to clean things up for the Mount, I'm sure they'd try it.
And you could see them trying to ignite something in transition, which try to give their defense a break because they've been on their heels to start this one.
5 goals for Marist here in the opening 11 minutes. Remember, they scored 29 goals. That's about 1 goal every just over 2 minutes, and 5 goals in 11 minutes. About, again, 1 goal every 2 minutes or so. Looks like they picked up right where they left off in the game against Quinnipiac.
And it's amazing what one save in this game can do. I mean, Mount St. Mary's up 1-0 late in the shot clock. Kelly Gowan had a nice shot down low, and that was stopped by O'Meara moving to his right. And since then, it's been all Marist.
And another possession for Marist after winning the face-off, and another goal for Marist. It's JoJo Pareca, 6 in a row for the Red Foxes.
This is textbook attacking a zone. You have to make the extra pass. And what a job by Embry to find Pareca right in his wheelhouse. We saw him score the first goal on the extra man from the exact same spot, and this time it's the exact same shot. Drops the hands, goes low, bounces it by Griffin McGinley, who's off to a rough start in this one. But just no answers defensively, and this Marist offense is so unselfish. Pareca's willing passer, but he's been the beneficiary of getting the extra pass a couple times here. But Hunter Embry doing a little bit of everything. We saw him go down the alley and take advantage when the slide didn't come. Balanced effort. Pareca got involved. Jamison Embry doing a little bit as both a goal scorer and a feeder, but Mount St. Mary's with no answer on the defensive end of the field, but this is where they can get themselves back into the game. The Faceoff X, the ultimate neutralizer, and Connor Beals, one of the few bright spots in those opening 15 minutes for Mount St. Mary's.
And you mentioned faceoffs.
He's a shooter who can really score from every area on the field. I'm just blown away by what this Marist team has done offensively. They're so unselfish, and they have shooters all over the field. That is really making life difficult on Mount St. Mary's because you have to make a decision on when you're going to slide. Who can win face-offs and really dictate pace. You got to rely on what got you here, and they haven't done it so far.
Kyle, this is what I was about to say to you. I was going to say, well, if there's any team that's got a shot here down 6 or at that time down 7, it's Mount St. Mary's. If you win enough faceoffs and you start playing clean and really good offense, you got a shot to get back in this game.
Yeah, but at the same time, you got to give Marist credit because they have really done a nice job defensively. And we talked about the X. Dylan Bedell's done a pretty good job here in the second quarter. You got to make it a scrum against Beals. His hands are so quick. Big-time shooter's goal from Jamison Embry, who has been red hot here in the first half.
Well, Marist scored 9 goals in the 12-9 loss to Mount St. Mary's only a few weeks ago. They've scored 9 goals here in just 25 minutes in the MAAC semifinals.
And let's see if Mount St. Mary's can find a way to get anything going offensively. That has to be the
on 5-hole there, I think, actually.
But again, that comes from him expecting a shot up high, which he's gotten so many times today. And Gowan's been the one guy who's really been able to ignite a spark in Mount St. Mary's offensively.
Gowan trying for another.
Has been unable to do that thus far.
Off the face-off. It's Marist who takes it upfield quickly. DeRave. And we got a whistle and a timeout called by Marist. And at this point, Marist with...
And again, the help just didn't come. He was waiting for the help to come from the crease to make the extra pass. It never came. And just rips a jump shot with his right hand. Good answer by Marist.
We talked quite a bit about this run that Mount St. Mary's was on, winning 7 of their last 8 games in conference. It's a similar story for Marist. They've won 4 straight games, and they've won 6 of their last 7 as well. I mean, when you get these 4 teams in the MAAC championships here, these are 4 teams that are really playing their best lacrosse at the right time. Siena, who we'll see later tonight, they won 3 straight and beaten the top 2 teams in the conference in Mount St. Mary's and Manhattan in back-to-back weeks. And a Manhattan team that's 7-2 with wins over teams like Navy and other non-conference opponents from bigger conferences.
Yeah, and I mean, Manhattan's the best team in the conference to me right now, but I think arguably coming into this, they're the team that I think has the most question marks about the way they've been playing. I mean, the loss to Siena was a wake-up call, but even last week against Wagner, I mean, they couldn't find the back of the net.
They did take a lot of shots, and we'll get to this Manhattan game when it comes time for it, but they took 25 shots against Wagner. They just scored only 6 times. Now, what is a 6-2 win? I think if you told Wagner that Manhattan's only going to score 6 times, they probably think they're going to have a good shot, but Wagner scored twice.
Yeah, and that'll be a fun one later tonight, too. We talk about goaltending battles. Chris Yanchoris and Joe Persico are, to me, head and heels the best 2 goalies in this conference. And
I think there was a thought that Persico might win defense.
Correct. St. Mary's has been unable to do that thus far.
The offense come to play. You talked about the upperclassmen and 11 goals in the first half.
Yeah, and they've gotten it from a balanced effort. I mean, and we talked about the stars for Marist really stepping up. But for the most part, they've been able to get production from everywhere. I mean, Jamison Embry was phenomenal. We've already talked about the Player of the Year and JoJo Parecka, but they've gotten it from everywhere.
It was Dan Bradley looking for a
work that he does. it also creates a little deception and makes it feel like it's going 10 miles per hour faster than it actually is.
Marist goal was scored by number 1, Joshua.
Well, another face-off win for the Mount, but the offensive possessions have been a tough go for Mount St. Mary's. With that said, Coach Tom Gravanti didn't seem all that upset with the offense in your halftime conversation.
No, and I think it's more to me, it's more about what Marist is doing offensively that's really frustrating Mount St. Mary's on the defensive end. Like, I think he understands, like, you've got to start. As a former face-off guy myself, I always like to say there's a reason they're leaving you open.
Well, you got to look at the crowd here from Marist, about a 90-minute drive.
We've talked about Pareca, we talked about Jamison Embry, but how about Hunter Embry today? I mean,
yeah,
a goal and 4 assists. We talk about guys who stir the drink. It's really number 42 and number 10 in red, but Hunter Embry has been excellent today.
Oh, that one off the post. Jake Deasy wanted another one. Your leader in points so far, Jamison Embry with 6 points.
Of this group, because that's when Lyons has an opportunity to take a shot down the alley if he's looking for it. But he's always has his eyes up. He's looking across the field, and there wasn't a huge window to get that ball in. And it's a real quick release by Balkersell, who beats Lyons with the high bouncer, who beats Preston with the high bouncer, excuse me.
Joshua Balkersell, assisted by number 34, James Lyons, the top of the goal, 3.
Oh, they're looking for goals quickly. Mount St. Mary's is. That one was wide.
Assisted by number 34, James Lyons.
Trying to
Blank range, gets down low, gets his body in front of it, but Farrell's there to clean it up, and that's the story of how Marist wants to play all season. They want to get the ball in transition. They want to run. They force a turnover on one end, and Mount St. Mary's is caught in a substitution, and Marist just takes advantage. And they've still been able to score 16 goals, and just a complete effort from top to bottom for the Red Foxes, and they'll get their 5th face-off win on a violation.
Jojo Pareca for Marist with the goal, and it is a 13-goal difference right now. And I think that Marist is not trying to pour it on at this point. Jackson, I think that it's more of a, the shot, you gotta shoot at some point. You're not just going to give the ball away.
Marist goal was scored by number 42.
Prior to their loss against Siena, they beat Marist in the regular season, and this has been like nothing we've seen. 18-4 in favor of the Red Foxes.
And this sideline just looks completely dejected for Mount St. Mary's, and you can't blame them because they've gotten blitzed by this Marist offense. And it's not just them that this has happened to. It's really the last month of the season, these past 5 games. I mean,
and Manhattan tonight will likely have their hands full on Saturday trying to stop this dynamic offense and trying to generate goals. Look at a team in Siena who's clearly playing their best lacrosse. Wins over Manhattan, 19 saves on 24 shots.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk to him after the game, just to see like where his confidence was at coming into this one, because it's got to be hard knowing, listen, you gave up 19 last time out, only make 6 saves, but to come in and have the performance he has today has been nothing short of exceptional for O'Meara, who's been the leader this afternoon.
Pareca, Embry, and I think that this Marist team, it doesn't look that bad. It was 10-2 going into the fourth quarter.
You're absolutely right. It was not as close as the scoreline indicated. Siena was the better team from start to finish. And they really took Manhattan's offense out of a rhythm, forcing unforced turnovers. It'll be really interesting to see the matchup tonight between Kyle Gucko and Brian MAAC. But regardless of who wins that game, it's going to be a real tall task to beat the hottest offense in America.
Remember, fans, you can catch Game 2 of the semifinals right back here on ESPN Plus, where Manhattan will take on Siena from Gaelic Park. The Jaspers hosting the 2023 Men's Lacrosse Tournament.
Mount St. Mary's goal was scored by number
Trying to get another one quickly as Dan Bradley missed